Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Tish Millsap, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Netnuke Corporation. I'm very happy to be the host of today's web seminar, SEO and Social Media Tips with our partner, Titan SEO. Our speaker today is Mike Trajecnik. He's the Vice President of Titan SEO. Welcome, everyone. Before we get started, just some quick housekeeping tips. I want to make sure everyone's comfortable with our web seminar platform. Please go look at your GoToWebinar control panel. There's a little button and you can raise your hand virtually. If you could just raise your hand if you can hear me. Okay, sounds like we're good. And if you can see my side, please use the raise your hand feature again and let me know. Sounds like we're good. Okay, logistics out of the way. There's going to be a lot of great information today. Titan SEO really comes to us with a lot of expertise in this area. But I want to let you know if you have a question at any time, just use the Ask a Question feature and go to Webinar. And there'll be time at the end of the presentation to ask questions as well. If we don't get to all the questions, we will attempt to respond in the next day or two via email. So feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like. Before we get started with the Titan presentation, Titan SEO presentation, we have several hundred people on the line right now. Some of you are familiar with DNN, some of you are not. So I'm going to take just a couple of minutes and tell you a little bit about us. So at Netnuke, we are a software company. We have a web content management system with a bunch of capabilities. One common theme that we come across with our customers is the problem of business agility when it comes to their digital presence. By that, I mean they struggle with doing things faster, doing them more efficiently as well as affordably, and basically scaling their business in an environment of unpredictable change. I'd like to ask you to think back to the year 2000 and what the internet was like then. At that time, the web was very static, but as you know, in the last 10 years, things have changed dramatically. Even so, people couldn't have really predicted the dramatic growth in social interactions, how critical mobile devices have become, and fundamentally how we use websites has changed from just a source of information to a place of meaningful interaction. So what we're encouraging our customers and prospects to think about is making the right platform choice that allows you to adapt quickly to that unpredictable change on the web. So again, at Netnuke, we're a software company. We have a web content management system with a lot of capabilities like document management, social, and mobile that allow our customers to adapt quickly and move fast and take advantage of new opportunities. A little bit more about the company. We're the world's #1 web content management system in the Microsoft ecosystem. We have just over 2,000 commercial customers, but we started as an open source project in 2002. We are by far the successful open source project in Microsoft history. We started selling commercial editions of our product in 2009, and that's been a very high growth business for us. In 2011, we were on the Inc. 500 fastest growing companies list. Because of the open source nature of our background, there are over 700,000 websites around the world that are powered by DNN. And over the years, we've had over 7 million downloads of our software. We also have an online marketplace called the Netnuke store, and there are thousands of modules, extensions, and designs in that store, which make building a website very fast and affordable for our customers. And finally, last but not least, we have a very large community of folks that contribute to the open source project and have a depth of knowledge about Netnuke, and they actively participate in continuing that project. A few months ago, we did a comprehensive survey of our customers, and we had some very interesting results. 95% of our customers said that they were able to improve the efficiency of their content owners. 94% of them said that DNN helped them save money. But DNN can also is important to use because it helps us get to market faster. Our survey showed that 81% of our customers felt that they were able to get to market significantly faster because they use Netnuke. Just to finish up, DNN comes in 3 different versions: our free community edition, our professional edition, and our enterprise edition, each with its own set of features and functions. And I encourage you to visit our website and learn more about each of these. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Mike, and Mike's going to take us through his presentation. So let me hand it over to Mike.
Hey everyone, hope everyone's having a good morning. We're going to show my screen here. So we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, the basics of SEO. We're going to talk about social media, the Google algorithm update as well. Just a little intro to Titan SEO. We are DNN's official SEO agency. We provide search engine optimization services, paid search management services, and also social media marketing services as well. We have some proprietary technology that we developed called Titan Bot, and it's definitely something that has set us apart in our industry. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, we provide a free analysis for all DNN users. So if you guys have, if anyone wants to contact us directly, feel free. As far as Titan SEO, we started in 2004. Again, we provide SEO pay-per-click and social media. We have our patented technology. We've been featured in the Inc. 5000 for the 3rd year in a row as well, so we're pretty proud of that. And we were chosen as DNN's official partner in 2011. So again, we're going to talk about SEO and social media tips 101. So we're going to iron out the basics first for everyone that's on here. We're going to talk about what needs to be done from a foundation perspective, talk about the Google algorithm update over the last year, what's coming up as well. We expect some big changes coming here very soon. And then we'll talk about your basics for social media marketing also. So the basics of SEO and how it works, SEO and paid search areas, we're going to talk about traffic distribution, how the search engine spiders and bots work, talk about the data centers and how they actually collect information, and talk about the algorithms and actual rankings. So for those of you that are really new to the SEO world, obviously the SEO area here, the organic search placement is highlighted. So we're going to talk about that primarily, how to get and achieve those types of rankings and the good foundation, like I mentioned before, to get you guys there. As far as the traffic distribution and where people are clicking, organic search still has a much bigger presence than paid search. It's about a 77% on Google right now, 23% clicking on paid ads. Excuse me. And then Yahoo and Bing are pretty similar as well. So search engine spiders, how do they work? What are they doing, and how do they come and actually view your website? So Google has what's called Googlebot, and Bing has BingBot. They're programs that are sent to crawl your website to collect information. And they're doing this all the time. So Google, for example, is coming by your site and collecting data on a weekly basis, in some cases on a daily basis, depending on the size and popularity of your website. So they come back, they collect that information, and they're looking at the different aspects of your website: content, code architecture, link architecture, outside links as well. And they take all that information. Once they collect that information in their data centers, they're actually going to go through and filter that data, apply it to their algorithms, and really try to understand what you're all about. So what you want to do is make sure that you're giving them relevant information on a continual basis so that they understand or believe that you're a popular, relevant, authoritative website. And ultimately, this will allow them to have your site rank organically on the search results for the types of keywords that you're targeting. So that's really the goal, which if that happens, you're going to get a lot of traffic. So the algorithms, they're formulas, mathematical formulas. They're coming by and they take, like I mentioned before, they take that information and they filter it out and they apply it here. So they're looking at things like the popularity of your website. They're trying to determine your reputation, where you should rank. They look at keyword relationships and the different derivatives that you have throughout your website. And they take that information and try to understand what you're all about. So as long as you're active with your SEO program, you're going to get more exposure. They're going to understand or believe that you should rank for more and more keywords that are related to your website, product, or services. So SEO tips. We're going to talk about what you need to have, from a foundation perspective. So we're going to talk about the 4 main areas. We're going to talk about things that you want to avoid as well, which is really important, especially when we start to talk about the latest Google algorithm update. So your basic SEO 101 tactic that you want to have implemented is title tags. So title tags are the top listing on your site that tells the search engine what that particular page is all about. You want to make sure that these are the most relevant as far as from a keyword perspective that you want to target. So a couple tips to keep in mind. First thing you want to do is only use up to 180 characters at the most. The first 70 characters will actually be used in the display, in the actual link that is displayed on the search results. You want to make sure they describe each page and they use important keywords. And typically, you want to stay within maybe around 3 to 5 phrases on your title tag for each particular page. You don't want to go overboard. You don't want to keyword stuff that title tag, and you don't want to leave it empty as well. You want to make sure that is set there properly. Meta descriptions. So meta descriptions aren't used in the actual algorithm, but they are certainly used in your display, your link display, your search display. So you want to make sure that your meta description is accurate and relevant to the page that it's on. This is going to help with click-through, the click-through process. It's going to help with people converting and getting to your site. If they see a good meta description from what they searched, it's going to match. You're going to have a much more higher opportunity to get those people to actually click on your site. So you want to make sure that your meta descriptions are in line with the pages on your site, the sections on your site, and the brand, and your brand as well. The meta keyword tag, which was used years ago, is still there's still a big misconception out there that the meta keywords will actually help within the algorithms in your ranking. That is not the case. And in fact, if you Google Matt Cutts, he's a senior engineer for Google, and you Google Matt Cutts meta keywords, there's a video on there that he talks about that Google does not use the meta keyword at all within their algorithms. So make sure you don't have those in there. Lots of times they're abused and people stuff hundreds of keywords at times in there. So you want to make sure those are not in place. And just touching up, that's still a big misconception out there. Additional important strategies that are actually, you know what, it looks like we just had a little issue here. Let me get this back logged in. It looks like for some reason the webinar just stopped on my end.
We're working on it.
Did it stop on your end as well?
Yeah, it looks like it stopped. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think you need to log back in. Yeah, you need to log back in. We're still on.
Okay. Can you switch to show your screen?
I sure can.
Okay. Let me see here.
Where do I do show? It's not letting me. Hold on.
Did we lose everyone?
No.
Okay.
Hang on, everyone. We're just changing the presenter.
Okay.
All right. We should be able to.
Yeah, I'm just going to call right back in from another computer as well, so we don't have the issue. One quick second, guys.
Okay, doke. Okay, we are back in business. Just need to move forward to where Mike was. Right. Yeah, looked like Mike got, he's not online. Hi everyone, it looks like Mike will be dialing right back in, and we should be back in just a moment.
All right, so it looks like we're back on.
Great. Mike, do you want me to try to hand over the presentation to you again?
Yeah, you know what? It looks like I can't re-log in because the webinar is in session.
Okay, so we can just go with this. Am I on the right slide?
So what slide are you on right now?
I'm on the meta description slide.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'll just tell you the next slide as we go.
Okay, sure.
Sorry about that, everyone. So, as far as the meta descriptions, make sure that they are relevant to the page. As I mentioned before, you want to make sure they're very targeted. Next slide. As far as additional important strategies to consider, content creation. If you guys are creating more content, that's great. You're going to have more relevant information on the page. Search engines love content. Content is king. I'm sure a variety of you guys have heard that before. Internal and external anchor text links, the link text throughout the site, you want to make sure that those are pointing to the correct pages internally on the site so that you get matching credit. That's very, very important. Search engines weigh heavily on anchor text matching parameters. Link building externally is still important. You want to make sure that you're getting quality, relevant links coming into the site on a consistent basis. Video, images, site size, all these things are very important, and you can really leverage these on a whole site network perspective. And of course, continued keyword research. Make sure you're up to date on the keywords that you're targeting. You want them to be relevant. You also want to track your cached and indexed pages on the search engines. So you want to make sure that the information that you are presenting to a search engine on your website is actually being indexed, and there's tools that allow you to do that. Next slide. As far as strategies to avoid, and this is going to kind of segue us into the update that Google had recently, but there are definitely strategies that you want to avoid. Duplicate content. You want to make sure that you are not pulling content from other sites. You want to make sure that you have as much relevant content and unique content as possible on your site. Search engines actually have filters that they see, that they use so they can see if there's duplicate content across the web. Link building and link spam. And this is one of the things that was hit really big with the recent update. You want to make sure you don't buy links. Search engines, especially Google, is the leader at finding websites that are actually selling links. So if they catch you, you can actually get dinged pretty bad. Same thing with link spam. You want to avoid bad neighborhoods. You want to avoid link farms and whatnot. Hidden text. Try to avoid any hidden text or invisible text on the site. There's still some what we kind of call black hat tactics that people use where they try to put hidden text in there and try to essentially trick the search engines. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And same thing with keyword stuffing, which I was talking about with the meta descriptions and the title tags. You don't want to have too many keywords in there. You don't want to overstuff those or overcook them. It's definitely not going to be a good fit. Copied content, it goes back to duplicate content. You don't want to have a high keyword density. So in other words, you don't want to use a keyword phrase 100 times throughout the site. Search engines will look at that as a negative tactic. And then deleting pages or sections without 301 redirecting. A 301 redirect is where you tell a search engine that the page is changing, but it's essentially the same page. So you want to make sure that's done correctly. And then same thing with changing domains without the 301 redirects. Lots of times people will introduce a new website, and businesses will introduce a new website and not 301 redirect the old site to the new site, and that can set you back, especially if you have a site that's been live online for many years and you introduce a brand new website. I see it all the time. You want to make sure that it's properly done. So if you have an in-house SEO team, make sure they're on top of that. If you're working with a firm, make sure that they're on top of the 301 redirects. And then any other black hat techniques, sneaking scripts, auto blog commenting, putting out mass articles and trying to just trick the search engines. Anything that goes against the terms of services of the search engines you want to avoid like the plague. Next slide, please. So now what we're going to talk about is the Google over-optimization penalty. It was dubbed Penguin, and we're going to talk about what happened, how DNN users actually can benefit from that, how to know if you were affected, and what you can do to fix it. Next slide. So what happened? Google's algorithm changed the Penguin update, which went live earlier in the year. The first time it went live, the first update was April 24th, and they've had a variety of updates since then. Sites were penalized primarily for spamming or what they call the over-optimization of the site. And the links were removed, causing ranking losses. So people that had a lot of bad links out there from bad neighborhoods, link spam, were definitely getting dinged. Terms of service violators were penalized as well. And sites that should not have been penalized were penalized as also, which we'll talk a little bit about how you can kind of reinstitute your site if that was the case. But there were a variety of sites that were impacted. So you want to make sure, again, going back to good SEO tactics, that if you were doing any of these techniques, you want to make sure you will go through and clean up any of those issues. Next slide. DNN code wins. So the good thing with the DNN platform is that it's very search engine friendly. If you're already using DNN, then you have a head start, and there shouldn't be any issues. The code is very clean, especially from a search engine perspective. And if you're not using DNN, you want to pay close attention to things like tables and frames and extra code markup. Those are issues that search engines will catch, and you want to make sure that those are all cleaned up. Next slide. So how to know if you were actually affected? Well, the easiest way is to look at your analytics and see if they dropped on April 24th or May 25th. Those were the first two updates with Penguin. There's also a couple other ways to look at it. You can look at keyword rankings. If your keyword rankings are dropping and have dropped in the past, you want to make sure that you're probably affected. So you want to go through and make sure you're applying all the basic SEO strategies, all the white hat terms of services that the search engines have in place, You want to make sure that all that was in place. Next slide. So what to do if you were affected, and how to avoid getting hit again, which again, like I mentioned, we are expecting another update coming very soon with Penguin. It could happen literally in the next few days. It can happen within the next few weeks. So clean up all the TOS violations, terms of services violation. Avoid all the hidden text, hidden links. Don't use any redirects that are sneaky or cloaking. Make sure that you're not sending any automated queries to Google. Don't use pages with irrelevant keywords or keyword stuffing. Don't create multiple pages, subdomains. You want to avoid the links from external links, neighborhoods that are spammy. If you were buying links, you want to make sure you go through and address all the links that were bought and try to remove those, because you will get dinged. You want to avoid doorway pages as well, which is a black hat technique that some SEOs out there create to essentially trick the search engines. So make sure you have all that in place. Next slide. And again, good SEO always wins. If you manage SEO yourself, stay on top of the updates. Do your research. Follow the good websites out there that like Search Engine Land. You can follow our Twitter feed. We have lots of good information on updates. Make sure you're staying ahead of the curve, especially since we're expecting a new Penguin update to be rolled out here very soon. Stay abreast with the information that's out there online. Be aggressive with good SEO and stay away from what we call lazy SEO. So make sure you're putting in the time, the effort that is necessary to make this work for you guys. If you've hired an SEO team or you plan to, again, make sure you're doing your due diligence. Talk to the prospective SEO's clients. Find out their experiences. Do your research and ask for details. Don't be afraid to ask for all the details from an SEO company. If it's a reputable, good SEO company, they're going to be happy to divulge all the information they can to make you feel comfortable. Next slide. So we're going to switch over a little bit and talk about social media marketing tips and how to leverage the 4 networks. We're going to talk about Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube. Those are the ones we're going to kind of focus on right now, and what you have to have in place from a basic perspective. Next slide. So Facebook tips. Obviously, create a fan page, and one thing you want to do is link it with Twitter, so there's a good integration there. You want to create your own URL and with your location name. This is certainly going to help from a brand perspective. It's also going to help from an SEO perspective to tie it into your brand. Search engines are going to see that and understand that that is definitely you guys. You want to post an update at least once a month, but probably more often than that. If you have the capabilities, you want to post as often as possible, as long as you're posting relevant content. And then, of course, add Facebook logo to your website. Make sure it links correctly. And there's also paid search services with Facebook that can be pretty cost-effective to get new business. So if you want to look into that, it's definitely a plus. Next slide. Twitter tips. So Twitter doesn't work for everyone, but it certainly can work for most businesses out there. Only create a Twitter page if you have time to manage it. The last thing you want to do is create a Twitter page that has no activity, just wasting people's time. And users are very quick to see that if you're not active on Twitter, they're not going to have any interest. So you're not going to get any value there. You want to search for tweets about your location, your brand, your business, your market, and respond and retweet those things. People like to see that activity. Tweet about things related to your business, not only about your business, but things that are related and around your market as well. If you have any complaints, send a private message to see if you can make it better. Don't go back and forth publicly. That's obviously going to have a negative impact on your brand. Post your Twitter logo on your site, again, only if you use it often. And there's programs out there that help you manage Twitter, like TweetDeck, which is a great program. And there's a variety of them out there. So look into those and make sure that you're managing Twitter and Facebook proactively. Google+. So Google+ is pretty new. It's still gaining ground, but you definitely want to get in there and create a business page. You want to have a presence with Google+. You want to post to the business page as well as if you would post to Facebook. And again, you can post the same thing to your social networks across the board. So that's a good thing there. And with Google+, what we're seeing is Google is definitely starting to give much more preference to this medium over things like Facebook and Twitter in the organic search results. And we expect that trend to continue moving forward. So if you have not published a Google+ page, we recommend that you do that right away. Especially long term, there could be some pretty big upside there. And last but not least, we're going to talk about YouTube and how you can leverage that and some of the basics that you want to have in place here. So obviously create videos for your site. If you have videos on your site, you want to make sure those are all on YouTube as well. Might as well. You're going to have and get more exposure. You want to have videos of your product, of your service, of your brand. Make sure they're related and targeted. Things like touring your facility, that's one idea. Showing people who you are. Video is a huge medium now, so you want to make sure that you have great videos out there that are relevant. You can also have news and updates on your market. And create a YouTube channel and post all your videos on there. Videos are also included in organic search. You want to title the video with your brand and keywords related to your location, to your products, to your services. That's a great way to get extra exposure organically on the search results. Next slide. Social media blunders, what to avoid. Too much self-promotion is definitely something that you want to avoid. And I see it every day where there's companies that are posting on Facebook every 10 minutes about their brand, something related about their brand or their products or their market, and that gets too cumbersome. And users are very quick to see that there's no value there from a bigger perspective. So you want to make sure that there's not too much self-promotion going on. You want to stay away from topics that are controversial or negative. It's just always good to stay away from those to make sure that there's a good brand presence there and nothing negative. And you also don't want to post too many things that don't relate to your business. So you want to kind of have a happy medium there. If you're just posting things that are not related all the time, well, you're going to lose potential business for people that want to see some information about your product or brand. And don't just use a content copier. Always want to have unique, relevant content across your social networks. Make sure that you're driving new content on your site and your social networks as much as possible. And of course, make sure your grammar and your spelling is always up to par. So that's our webinar. We wanted to have plenty of time for questions, I'm sure. I'm sure that we're going to have a variety of questions. We do have a quick summary on the next slide there. If you haven't already, start implementing basic SEO, put it in place. Make sure you're in compliance with the new updates and algorithm updates, Penguin primarily. Keep abreast on the news on when that's going to be launched. Get involved with social media is probably one of the most important things you can do for a business right now. If you're not involved, get involved. If you are involved, continue and push. And avoid the big blunders with SEO and social media marketing, and continue with good SEO and good social media as well. So we're going to open it up to questions. Stephanie, Tish, I don't have access to the questions, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can work with you on that. Just one thing, Micah, before we go into the questions, I just kind of wanted to give an unsolicited plug for Titan SEO for all those people who are here listening. We've been working with you guys I've been working with you guys since January, and I just want to let people know who are considering working with somebody that you guys have been super easy to work with and very professional. You've continuously delivered #1 page rankings for us. And the thing that's most to me is that you always seem up to date, not just up to date, but thinking ahead about what's going on in SEO, changes that are happening in the algorithms. And I really look to you guys as experts, and it's been a great partnership with .NET
Thank you. Thank you very much. And, we definitely pride ourselves in that. Obviously with this webinar today, we wanted to just kind of set the groundwork, give you guys the basics. Obviously with SEO, there are a lot of changes. We definitely, again, pride ourselves on keeping up with those and making sure we keep all our clients happy.
Great. So a couple of questions here from you. One is, quick question on, do you work with smaller companies?
Yeah, absolutely, we do. So if you guys want to get in contact with us, we'd be happy to evaluate your business, see if there's opportunities, and yeah, feel free to contact us directly.
Okay, and I also see a couple of questions here from people asking about the slides. We will follow up with the slides afterwards, so you will have those. Another question, do you have any, can you explain in more detail about how link building works, external, internal, etc.?
Sure. So with link building, how it works is pretty simple from a top-level perspective. The whole goal for link building is to go out there and get other websites that are relevant to your industry, relevant to your product and your services to link to you guys. So one of the easiest ways to go out there and get links is call websites, call companies, email them, and see if there might be an opportunity to put a link on their site pointing to yours. So that's, yeah, and one of the big things and kind of a good point here, to find good link partners, look at your competition. You can do a simple link command. There's tools out there that will show you who's linking to your competition, and reach out to those people, reach out to those websites. Lots of times there could be opportunity there. If they're linking to your competition, they might be willing to link to you as well.
Great.
And then just touching on with internal link architecture and anchor text linking, you want to make sure if you're going to use a link text throughout your site, that link is actually pointing to a page that's relevant to that keyword or keyword phrase.
Keywords, I have a couple of questions about keywords. What are some places to research keywords, and what's a good percentage for keyword density?
Sure. So there are some tools out there. One of the basic tools that we have is Google's own tool. They have a great tool that will actually show you keywords, keyword derivatives, traffic numbers out there. And then there are a variety of paid tools out there that you can use. If anyone wants to shoot me over an email, I can send them a list of different keyword research platforms. As far as keyword density throughout the site, you want to keep it between 1 and 2%. That's kind of a good rule to stay within. You don't want to overcook it, so just 1 to 2% is a great fit.
Good. Another question about meta keywords. So meta keywords are not used by Google or Yahoo. Does it count against us to have them not overstuffed?
Yeah, great question. They are not used in the Google algorithm anymore. They're not used in Bing or Yahoo either. My opinion and what we tell all our clients is to just get rid of them. You don't need them. They're not going to give you any value. So why take the chance that you're going to get dinged or penalized for having them in there? Even if they're not stuffed and you don't have a ton of keywords in there, I would just avoid them altogether. they just don't do anything anymore.
Gotcha. I have a question. Someone's asking if Mike and his team will be attending the DNN conference, and I just want to say yes, Titan SEO is a silver sponsor, I believe, of DNN World. For any of you all out there that are interested in attending our conference, it starts on October 10th in Orlando, and you can certainly go to our website to find out more about that. I'm sure Mike would love to talk to you guys while he's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Myself and a couple other team members will be there. We'll have a table set up, so if anyone's interested in chatting, we're happy to do it, and come by and visit us.
Another question, what are your thoughts on syndicating articles that include external links to your site?
Yeah, well, you know what, everyone, actually, our president, Danny Shepard, just joined us, and I'll have him address a couple questions as well.
All right. So
Welcome, Danny.
Oh, thank you. The article question is definitely a hot topic with SEO, especially with the Penguin update that just happened in April. One of the things that Google is doing especially is looking to try to discredit article syndication, articles that were put out there just for links, and they've done a pretty good job at finding those links and discrediting them. As long as you're not doing it excessively, there's a good chance that it won't have a negative impact on you. There's also a good chance that it won't have a positive impact either. In fact, in most of the cases where we've seen article syndication done, it's just treated as duplicate content by search engines. So it's not something that I would really recommend for link building. If you want to get a good press release out there and use companies like PRWire or PRWeb to get your message or your new product or service out there for PR reasons, it's fine. But I wouldn't recommend doing it for link building purposes.
Thanks. Another question, Danny. How does LinkedIn figure into a company's SEO strategy?
That's actually a great question, and I would say that it depends on the company. So for a company that primarily sells to consumers, I would say it's less important, primarily because most of the consumers aren't going to either follow them on LinkedIn or be interested in connecting with them. However, if you're a B2B business, it can be a huge asset and a great thing to leverage both from an SEO perspective but also just from a business building perspective. So I'd recommend getting involved with it if you're B2B. If you're B2C, you still want to have a presence and have a page, but I wouldn't really spend a lot of time pushing or promoting it. I'd use my resources to promote Facebook and Twitter if I was a B2C. As far as SEO goes, it's not going to pass authority or give you any more popularity by having links in LinkedIn pointing to your site, but it does create another spot, for example, when someone searches for your brand that you can come up for and own that page. It also presents an opportunity to get your message out to your customers, so I definitely recommend doing it.
Great. This is an interesting question and definitely one that we have been talking to you guys about. Aside from using redirects, anything to keep in mind for SEO on a website redesign?
Yeah, I would say there are a huge laundry list of things that you want to look at. Redirects, hands down, are the most important. Like Mike mentioned earlier in the presentation, I can't tell you how many times potential customers come to us and said, we redesigned our site and our rankings are all gone. What did we do wrong? And I'd say 9 out of 10 times they just didn't redirect their pages. And what happens when you don't do the 301 redirects is you lose authority, you lose indexing, you lose rankings. Now, there are definitely other things that can cause problems. The structure of the site, if you change that a lot, the internal links can distribute differently and cause you to lose rankings. The content on the site, if you remove content, it can actually be detrimental. If you add too much content, it can change the scope of how they're pulling data. Googlebot or Bingbot is pulling data. I always recommend if you're going to do a change, especially if you already have rankings, hire a professional. Have someone come in, even if you're not going to work with them full time, have them come in, consult with your team, whoever's developing the new site, to make sure that everything's in place and that there aren't going to be any issues. Definitely a worthwhile investment. And if you don't already have rankings, you're thinking about hiring an SEO company, that's the perfect time to do it when you're transferring from an old to a new site.
Great. Interestingly, I have a couple of questions. People asking if you guys work with any nonprofits.
Yeah, we do. We have quite a few actually. So if you're interested in talking with us, let us know. Contact us, and we'd be happy to talk to you.
Great. What about? Let's see. There was a question. Oh, what's the max character limit we should use for a meta description?
Great question. So there technically isn't a max number. You can have your meta description be as long as you want, but what will actually show or get displayed is typically between 160 to 170 characters, and that includes spaces. A lot of times people forget to count the spaces. So that's where you want to have your call to action. And remember, meta descriptions are not used in the ranking algorithm at all, so don't keyword stuff it, don't make it, have a bunch of keywords in it. What you do want to have is something that reads smoothly. It has a good call to action. It's going to cause people to actually click on it so they can go to your site. It's one thing to have rankings. I mean, that's our job, as an SEO company. We try to get rankings for our clients. But if once you rank, whatever that person sees isn't compelling, doesn't cause them to click, then it's not valuable. So it's definitely something you want to pay attention to.
Great. This is an interesting question. How do you avoid page ranking cannibalization when you have multiple very similar products?
That's a great question. So I think back in 2010, 2 or 3 years ago, Google came out with a new code snippet that you can add called canonical link code. Canonical link code allows you to tell the search engines which page you want them to count as your main page. So let's say you're a retailer and you're selling shoes, and for every product you have 20 sizes, 0 to 12, in half sizes. That creates in your system a lot of duplicate content and duplicate pages. So what you can do is you can put this canonical link code into your source code to tell Google, and Bing and Yahoo have also started to adopt this, which page they should actually give all of the SEO juice or the page rank juice to. This is important for a few reasons. It's important because it allows you to avoid duplicate content penalties, and it also allows you to pass authority through your site to the appropriate areas and have control over it. So it's a great setup. And it's something that Google has a lot of documentation on, so you can just Google it, and they'll have information on how to do it, how to set it up in the code. And if anyone has any questions, reach out to Mike. I think his email is on the last slide, so you can email him or call us.
Yeah, I want to call that out. Actually, again, there are several questions. There's lots of great positive feedback on the presentation. People really appreciated the information. And there are several people saying they would like to set up one-on-one conversations with you. So for those of you guys who have asked that question, Mike's contact information is right here on this slide, so please feel free to reach out to him directly. I think we'll do just a couple more questions. We certainly have tons, but we'll just do a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. One question here is, how important are press releases? We have received mixed information on this.
That's a great question. So I would go back to the previous question that asked about article syndication. Very similar to press release strategy. 4 or 5 years ago, this was a legitimate strategy. You could go out to PR Wire, PR Web, and distribute a bunch of press releases with strategic anchor text links embedded in them, and you would actually get link credit and benefit from a ranking perspective. That is absolutely not the case anymore. In fact, it can actually have a negative impact on your site if you do it too much. It can make your link landscape look spammy or not good from a search engine perspective. So I wouldn't recommend doing press release marketing for SEO. The only time you want to do press release marketing is if you have a legitimate press announcement that you want to make that people are going to be interested in, and you want to get it and distribute it out on the web. Then absolutely do it.
Great. So we'll just take one more question, and it might just it would be interesting to hear. There's several people who've asked who said, I'm just getting started. I'm not very technically savvy. How do I, or I need to know just enough to manage our website. How do you recommend I get started with SEO? What's kind of the the best way to ramp myself up, train myself, and just get started in this?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say the first thing you want to do, if you haven't already, is get a content management system like DNN. One of the big advantages of using DNN is that it already has things like unique title tags built into the system. I can't tell you how many other systems we've seen from some of our clients where you can't create unique title tags, you can't create unique meta descriptions. That is by far the most important thing. That's what you want to start with. Go in there, make sure every page has a unique title tag and a unique meta description. Once you've got that taken care of, and after you've done your keyword research and you know what you want to go after, there are a lot of resources online that you can use to help continue to educate yourself on SEO. And it's a moving target. What's true today is not going to be true in 6 months. You know, it's something that you have to, if you're going to do it yourself, you have to be willing to commit the time and the resources necessary to keep up with it. One of the things I would recommend is definitely follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and I'm not just saying that to self-promote, I'm saying that because we have a lot of good tips and information. You know, we'll link out to updates when they happen. If Google Penguin comes out with a new update, we're going to be the first people that are going to be out there posting about it so that you can see what's changed, and we'll let you know how it affects or can potentially impact your site. And there are also a lot of seminars that you can go to out there. Search Engine Watch has a good one. So does Search Engine Land. So, Search Engine Strategies is also good. There are a lot of resources out there. So educate yourself and make sure if you commit to this, you have to continue to educate yourself.
It certainly is a very complex and technically interesting area. So we're going to wrap it up now. I just want to say thank you to both Mike and Danny. They've not only been great partners, but they're also great to work with on this web seminar series that we've had with them. So I definitely encourage you all to reach out to them if you have specific questions or needs or would like to take advantage of their free website evaluation. And we will be following up with this follow-up email tomorrow, so you will get the presentation, and any of those questions we didn't get to, we'll try to answer them offline.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.